here we are in Greenwich, Connecticut, and I'm looking at this house and thinking to myself, who would buy this? Well, we did. Here we are on 40 Halsey Drive in Greenwich, Connecticut, where we collaborated without ego by joining forces with Angela Swift to represent this property.
So why are we here, Susan?
That's a great question. Our homes, we typically don't bring in a stager, and especially in this market, we're finding that homes are selling without the same amount of marketing that we needed to in the past. But this particular home, when we opened it up, we found that structurally I couldn't get some of the spaces to be exactly as I had anticipated, which led me to feel, oh my goodness, when the buyers come through, they're going to be a little confused about how to use some of these spaces. And I know that you are an expert with your ability to visualize as well as complete a space so that it really is appealing to today's buyer and elevates a property.
So what were the specific challenges that you saw in this property? I know it's a beautiful property. You have done tons of work to the property. It's a complete renovation here, and it looks so fabulous. I know the finishing touches still need to go in.
Yeah, and as you can see, we're still under construction as
yeah.
we stand here. So my largest challenge was when somebody walks in, how are they going to visualize using these separate spaces? We've played with where is the fireplace going? We've moved around windows, we've opened walls, we've closed walls, and really through a nice collaborative effort. And I reached out to you saying, I don't know what to do with this space. And so when you came in, how did you, what is your process? How did you originally see, okay, now I have an understanding of what we're going to do here?
Well, first of all, you brought me in when everything was in studs.
Yes.
So that was lots of fun because you still could see through everything.
You could see through all of the walls, yeah.
And it was very interesting to see how you subdivided the spaces now differently. And first of all, I always want what I asked you. Remember, I asked you the question about who are you targeting? Who are you planning this for? Because it's so important when you're planning a property, be it for flip or resale, to really understand who your target buyer is.
Right.
So we spoke about that, and we were talking do you want to go over who you were targeting? Because I know you have put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, well, we're in Greenwich, Connecticut, and what we're seeing now more than anything are those New York buyers coming out, and they're young, they're sophisticated, and they're starting their families. So we needed something that's going to appeal to that elevated sense of style and still have the functionality that we're hoping to achieve.
Right. So what we were talking about, okay, we have the living room. You see the wall behind me here. The living room is a relatively small square footage wise, and one of the worries was how to get this all together and how to bring in furniture. So since we are targeting the younger demographic, we have a really cool surprise for you.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
We have planned quite colorful.
Okay, I like color. I'm not afraid of color. I'm tired of 50 Shades of Grey.
We are not putting the 50 Shades of Grey in here because we got so inspired by the finishes that you have in the property. You have the dark blue cabinets for the kitchen. We have it repeated in the accent wall in the back here.
And the front door, we repeated it as well.
Yeah.
And I had some questions for you when we were, beginning this process. And I'm always trying to be very deliberate and selective with where I place an accent. But I wanted to feel like a continuity throughout. And you actually designed this wall. I can't wait to see it when it's completed. Yeah. And I remember I was just saying to you, I'm really not sure how we're going to place the furniture. And then you're like, well, you need to, you can say the thought process because you can articulate it better than I can. But
we needed to create a focal point in that room because that room was so blah. There was nothing here that would interest anybody. And since you're coming in, and that's one of the first things, the first room that you really see coming into the property is that living room and that wall. Right. We needed to make something spectacular and something different.
Yes, I love something different. I'm so tired of seeing the same cookie cutter after and after. And when somebody comes into this house, they're going to feel that sense of uniqueness and that this is different than anything else that they're seeing on the market.
Right. So that's why it came up. I said okay, I cannot have Susan build this without having a really spectacular accent wall. And that's why I said like, okay, let me think about it. What can we do that is different, that speaks to the target buyer, and that really sets this property apart from the competition that's out there in the marketplace, right? Because the goal is to really increase the perceived value of the property for all the buyers out there.
Right, and for as many buyers as possible as well.
Right.
Yeah, that will truly appreciate the elevated finishes throughout. And it was such a surprise to me because I knew you did staging, but I didn't understand that you would also be able to collaborate with me in creating an entire focal point that then becomes the inspiration for everything else.
Yeah, we also spoke about the exterior too.
Right.
We collaborated on that part too. Whether the exterior should have like a long roof, front line, or whether it should be like a short entrance overhang.
Right, just to
only.
cover, because we knew we needed something, and I knew I
Right.
needed to spice up the curb appeal. I mean, we were working with a pretty simple palette, and again, we want to elevate it, and so I was asking your opinion on, do we keep it just the roof so that when you walk in, you're not getting rained on, but really what it deserved was the porch to go all the way
Right.
across the front. So yes, it was an added expense, we worked it into the budget, but I think we're going to see the return on the other side.
I'm absolutely sure about that.
Well, I'm so excited to see what's to come, and
Yeah.
staging day is just a couple of days away.
Okay, so for the next episode maybe?
Yes.
Is that a separate episode?
I think it will be.
Awesome.
You'll have to stay tuned to see the completed project.